Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Buckeye Bro Show. This is a show where we talk about Buckeye football, Buckeye basketball, and Buckeye things, and other sports and teams as we see fit. I am your royal host, Alex Bryan, a.k.a. King Buckeye, and I'm here, as always, with my co-host with the most, my Buckeye bro, Hot Wheels, Travis Napper. What's up, Travis?
The smoking host.
The smoking host. Yes, I like that. We should just start calling you that all the time. That's great. the hottest wheels, the smoking wheels. I like that.
Well, Logan does call me the hottest wheels in motorsports and the hottest wheels in Score on Air. So
I like it. I think that
I like it too. I like it a lot.
I think,
bro, what's up, man?
We need like an audio clip of him saying that about you. We'll just play it on the show all the time.
I think I can make
that way. Logan can follow you everywhere you go.
I have been told I do sound like him whenever I'm not doing my actual voice. Yeah, you know. I've been told I sound like him a little bit. So.
Oh man, I bet you love that, don't you?
Poor him. Poor him. To be honest.
Poor him indeed.
I know.
All right, bros and broettes, we got a pretty good show for you tonight. We're going to talk first about the updated Big Ten schedules that they did. We're only going to talk about Ohio State, though, because why talk about the others, right?
Because this is
the Buckeye Bro Show. Okay, we're not talking.
You thought you were going to get others.
We're not talking about anybody else's schedule here. We're talking about the Buckeye schedule. All right. We'll also talk about Al Washington to Tennessee or not to Tennessee. That is the question. We'll dive into that and the outcome of what happened there. Then also we got some Keenan's ransom for you. I only got one game. It's really hard to find betting odds for games for like basketball like a couple days ahead. It's usually like the day before they post the odds. Like how ridiculous is that?
Very, very ridiculous.
Unless there's like a website that I'm not finding to find odds on games. But it's getting real hard to find some betting odds for games, folks. But we'll give you that. We'll talk some OSU basketball. The one game that we have to recap from Monday, I believe. And we'll talk a little bit about the game coming up on Saturday against Indiana. Then we'll give you some Hot Wheels hot takes per usual. And we'll talk a little Super Bowl to wrap up the show and give you a Wolverine whiff to send you on your way. So how does that sound, Trevor?
I'm excited. I really can't wait for the whiff. I'm really curious to see what it is this week.
Oh, it's a whiff.
And I'll be scrambling to try to figure out what in the blue blazes my Hot Wheels hot take is going to be this week. I promise I have one, but I don't know what it is yet.
Making another Andrew Luck caliber one.
Well, if y'all have one and you want to send it to me, tweet me at Wheels614.
Boom. Love it.
Daddy needs some help.
Daddy does need some help, okay. All right, so first agenda item here, the Big Ten schedule. I don't think they changed any opponents from what it looks like. They just shuffled some dates. First and foremost, we were going to start out the season with Minnesota anyway on a Thursday night. That stays the same. Oregon at home 9 days later on a Saturday, obviously. I fully expect that to be a primetime game. And in case people don't know, Ohio State's track record against Power 5 schools at home in primetime has not been good since like 2000. We've only beaten like one team, I believe, at home since then. We've lost to like Oklahoma, USC, Texas. I mean, all of them at home in primetime. So, not sure if I'm looking forward to it or not, but I'm hoping just the fact that we are always pretty good against Oregon, that'll continue. Then also the next week, Tulsa. Then we got Akron. And here's where things start to change. Okay. The game on October 2nd was at Nebraska. It is now at Rutgers. Gasp.
What?
Right? What? Yeah.
How dare
The
they?
very next week was supposed to be Purdue. It is now Maryland. Then we have our bye week. That stayed the same. Then it says we were going to be at Rutgers on the 23rd of October. It's now going to be at Indiana that week. So we get Indiana off a bye week. That's pretty nice.
Oh boy.
Then the next week was supposed to be Michigan State at home. It's now Penn State at home that week. So Indiana and Penn State back to back. That could be pretty challenging. We'll see how that goes. At Indiana was going to be the very next week. That is now at Nebraska. Then November 13th was supposed to be Maryland. It's now Purdue. And then the final one that changed was November 20th was supposed to be Penn State at home. It is now Michigan State. And the rest stays the same. So what were your initial thoughts when you saw this little jumbling up of the schedule?
I really honestly didn't think too much of it because, yeah, some of them I was kind of scratching my head at times, but other than that, it's like the way I was looking at it, hey, still you got to play the games that you're being dealt. You got to play the way that you're being dealt. I know that didn't make any sense, but it made sense in my head, so I said it.
It made sense to me in my heart.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I really didn't think that much of it, to be quite honest, because it's Ohio State. I know how good they are. I know they can be very good. And, hey, look for any challenges you can get. If we find some in the way that the schedule changed around, I'm looking forward to it. I to be honest, no matter what, I was looking forward to that Minnesota game at the beginning of Big Ten play. That, to me, was the most intriguing part of the whole thing, is that stayed, and I'm glad that it did, because I'm curious how that's going to play out, because we saw what Minnesota looked like in COVID year.
Right.
I want to see what Minnesota looks like in semi-COVID year. We're still in a pandemic, we're still in COVID, but I think they're going to have a little bit better grasp of this come college football time. So it's going to be curious to see how Minnesota has hopefully adjusted to this whole thing, and maybe we see them row the boat one more time and actually get back to what they were 2 years ago, or at least a year ago.
Right.
So I'm intrigued for that one. Everything else is kind of par for the course. I don't really expect anything to really jump out at me until we see what these teams are made of.
Agreed. I don't know who's returning from Minnesota yet. I know obviously Bateman isn't. We'll probably know more about that come spring ball here in a month or so. Which, God, that's right around the corner already. That's kind of crazy to think about.
Oh my gosh, it is!
Right, so let's get that moving a little bit.
Spring game!
Hopefully, if we can even have a spring game this year. Good Lord.
They said they're going to try.
I hope. That would be great. I'd love to go.
I'd say there is something that happened today that gives you good hope.
What was that?
The Blue Jackets are on track to allow fans back in the games.
Oh, okay.
It's not official yet. I think it's got to go to the state. But their proposal got approved. I know we don't usually talk about CBJ too much, but their proposal got approved.
Okay.
I forget by who, but they're on track right now to hopefully have fans in the stands. Once the approval is made, they should have they're going to go into the process within a week, hopefully, to have fans in the stands. And one of the only reasons I know that is because I actually work for that stadium.
Boom!
Or the arena.
Hey!
Yeah!
I like it.
Inside source.
So hopefully we can go to that spring game. That'd be pretty sweet. We'll see how that goes.
You can imagine if we could do a Buckeye Bro Show from that. Oh, that'd be so awesome.
I'm down. I'm down.
Grab a table, sit in the parking lot.
Right.
What are they gonna do? We're in the parking lot.
So yeah, we'll see how that game goes. Definitely that game being on the road, obviously cause for pause. We'll see. But if it's anything like that Minnesota team last year, I think a little steamroll might happen up there in Minneapolis. That Oregon game, I know we're, 8-0, 9-0 against Oregon. It's just the fact I know it's going to be prime time. I know they're a Power 5 school. We just suck at home in prime time against Power 5 opponents. I don't know why. But the good news is the last team that we did beat at home that was a Power 5 non-conference team in prime time was Washington. So from the same conference. So fingers crossed, because we're going to absolutely need it. Oregon's...
Wait, wasn't the last one that we beat in primetime Clemson?
At home, though. At home. In the shoe. Yeah. Our record at home in primetime against non-conference Power 5 opponents is putrid since, like, 03 or something like that.
I just wanted to rub it in the Clemson's fans' faces again.
Yeah, 49-28. Could have been worse.
Yay!
You know what? The Buckeye Bro Show after that game, I totally forgot to get like a stuffed tiger and just like have it dangling here behind me or something, like roadkill. I totally forgot to do that. That's gonna have to be like an official mascot of the Buckeye Bro Show or something.
To be fair,
I can get my Wolverine, my dead Wolverine. That almost got me beat up at a game.
Well, I don't want that. I need you.
I'll have to show you that video sometime. It was nuts.
Yes, you do. But to be fair, you did come through though, because you had the Trey Sermon smirk as your background. So all is forgiven.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
That's what I
But after Oregon, obviously 2 layup games. Tulsa will beat, but they've been really good offensively in recent years. Ooh. So, not mad about that game. Obviously, Akron, that'll be a spanking.
If they score like 20 points, our fan base is going to freak out.
I'll be mad. I'll be mad as hell, as always. It'll be nice. It'll be nice to have those kind of games back, though, to get really get some stuff ironed out. That was the biggest issue last year. We didn't have any games to iron anything out, really. And
so if they score 20, but we score like 70,
I'm always mad.
You'll be mad.
I'm always mad. Always mad. Against those teams, I expect goose egg. 3 at the most.
All right, bro.
Unless they're good. Like Tulsa, they'll probably get 14. But Akron, I expect goose egg all day.
Yes, sir.
I will be upset. You will, if we're doing the show still by then, which I hope we are, you will hear me cussing up a storm in my head, not on the show, because we don't cuss on the show, okay? But I will say substitute words like fudge and stuff like that,
Can we not say fudge? Now I'm hungry.
I already had my dinner.
Not sponsored.
They could be. If you guys want to sponsor the show, we're not going to be mad at you. But then after that, obviously,
I think they do sponsor Score on Air. So
hey, if they want to throw us
at one time we were trying.
I have my Canes T-shirt for the first 100 people at the North Canton one that they opened up 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm a Caniac, man. So I'm all about it.
See, now they have to sponsor.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, hop on board.
Yeah.
We'll shout you out every time. We'll get you a commercial in here. We'll make it up ourselves because we go to school for that. Okay. Yeah. School for that.
All right. What else happened?
Right. Going back to the schedule though, I do like the fact that we don't have. I guess at Nebraska after Akron wouldn't have been bad, but at Rutgers is pretty all right.
I don't know. Full maybe possible year of Greg Schiano getting that team all together. You never know.
Right. That's the only thing I'm like about with it.
Dude was pulling tricks out of his hat every which way you turn. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to. I want to see. There needs to be an over/under next year of how many trick plays Greg Schiano is going to call for Rutgers.
Total or against Ohio State?
Total.
10.
You're a little bit higher than I was. I was going to put the over/under at like 6.
It's not bad. Either or. Depends on if they get to a bowl game, which I actually think they could.
Absolutely.
I I think
believe
they'll
it.
be very improved. But at Rutgers was after the bye week. But now at Indiana being after the bye week, I actually prefer that. Because as we both believe, Indiana could probably end up being like a 9-10 win team next year. So
I'd say 10
right,
easily.
that'll be very helpful. And then Penn State after that. Hopefully that doesn't end up being like one of those Iowa situations where we have a game against a quality opponent and then another game afterwards, and then all of a sudden we're hitting the panic button at certain points. Oh wow, I'm looking at Indiana's schedule right now. So we will talk a little bit about somebody else's schedule. They have at Iowa game 1, and then 2 games later they play the Bearcats at home. It's Cincinnati.
What?
That's rough.
That's cheap. I want that schedule.
Their schedule's actually kind of nice, to be honest.
How come we rarely ever get Cincinnati? What the heck?
We should play them more. We really should.
That should be like an annual thing every flipping year.
They do it more with basketball, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They do it more with basketball, but
I feel like that should be a rivalry starts.
Cincy wants it to be a rivalry. We're just
it should.
We're just kind of sitting here like
70 points, 60 points, 50 points. Yeah.
Well,
but
to be fair, in 2019, I was very worried about that game. I was like,
to be fair,
Cincinnati's going to be tough, and then we beat them 42-0. So,
yeah.
But
I mean, it'd still be fun to watch.
They've come close before. What was it, like 2017 or something? They were battling us with Gunnar Keel or something at quarterback. So yeah, I mean, I would like that. That'd be fun, especially now that they're like really, really good. Yeah, put them on the schedule. I'm all for it.
Because that not only does that make an interesting schedule for us, it helps them.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, yes, I get it that the non-power fives are never going to be in the college football playoff. They've made that abundantly clear. Yeah. Unless they extend it, and even then, I have a hard time believing that one of the non-power fives is going to get in. But I would just love to see it more, especially if Fickle's going to stay there. I see no reason not to.
Yeah, I don't see him going away anytime soon for sure. So I think that's definitely going to be.
I really hope he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't
either. I like what he's built down there. It's pretty nice. Yeah, I don't see Cincy on any of the like foreseeable future schedules. That's pretty sad. I love that Purdue's on this schedule though. Been waiting for that. Really upset we didn't get our Iowa game last year at home. That really upsets me still. I wanted revenge. But, I mean, even at home, that Purdue game, you just never know with Purdue. They've been the biggest thorn in this team's side since the year 2000. You always got to pay attention to them, no matter how bad or good they are, obviously. And then, obviously, closing out the year with Sparty and then the Wolverines. In past years, I would be like, crap, like 2015, of course. But
right.
now I'm just like, I mean, Sparty's. So we should be all right. We should be all right with that. Honestly, yeah. I see 12-0. I see 12-0, and I'm perfectly okay with that. We might trip up somewhere, but hopefully not, because
you hush your face.
Can't really afford to.
Hush your face, sir.
All right. I'll hush my face. I'm sorry, Travis. Please don't hurt me. All right.
You don't have to drive to Maslin to do it, so I ain't got that kind of time.
That's right. True. All right. Before we go to break, we're gonna talk a little here about Al Washington. So it was a nice concerted effort by Tennessee. They offered him, and apparently he was pretty set to become the defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Volunteers. But then Ohio State and Ryan Day said, no. They offered him a pretty nice deal. I think they upgraded his title to run game coordinator. So they added on this title, gave him a pay bump. And then Tennessee tried once again to swoop in with a lucrative offer, as they called it. But Ohio State said, no. And eventually, today, it was confirmed that he chooses to stay with the Buckeyes. What were your thoughts on that?
I got nervous. I really did. Especially because there was all this controversy and media attention surrounding the fact that Ryan Day had decided not to really go anywhere outside of in-house to get any sort of coach. And so you wondered, is there going to be a coach that we lose? Is there going to be somebody that's just going to up and leave for greener pastures? Now, in this case, there were really, I wouldn't say that Tennessee is greener pastures. No offense. Actually, no, a lot of offense. Tennessee sucks.
They turned down Greg Schiano to be their head coach.
And look how that turned out for them. So I was a little nervous, depending on what their offers were going to be.
Right.
But the more that the story kind of stuck out there, the more it kind of floated around, the more I was like, probably not a lot to really worry about. I had a lot of hope that they were going to keep them, especially because of the fact that they had focused so much on staying in-house that they want to – you can tell they want to build around this program. They want to build around the guys that are there, see what they got, and then go from there. And so I had very little to believe that he was not going to stick around and we were not going to see how this thing goes.
I agree. I kept thinking to myself, granted, it's an upgrade title-wise from linebacker coach to defensive coordinator, but why on earth would you basically want to take a 2 to 3 year job? Because let's face it, if Tennessee doesn't do something with this new coach in 2 or 3 years, he'll get fired too. And then guess what? You're out on your butt too.
And didn't they actually just fire their coach?
Yeah, they fired Pruitt and they hired that Wapple or whatever his name was from Central Florida.
Yep.
And I just don't see him making it in the SEC.
And especially because, like, here's the thing. If you're Al Washington, the reason you're staying is simply this. If you want a better job, why not stick it out at Ohio State? Prove you're an elite linebacker coach this year in a year where you actually get good play and actually get an attempt to show that you can coach these guys. Because last year, like we've said it time and time again, last year was a little bit of a crapshoot. Nobody really got full time to teach these kids. They never really got actual time to develop anybody because it was such a weird time. Half the time, everybody was out of the lineup, so it wasn't real. This year, I believe, will be more realistic when it comes to development. So why not be at the biggest spotlight or one of the 3 biggest spotlights you can be at, show that you are indeed a great linebacker coach and possibly more, and use that momentum. Because you can probably get a much better job than Tennessee if you stick it out one more year here and your players ball out. And now people are going to look at you like, oh, look what that guy did with Ohio State.
I think in the next 3 years, definitely, I think I could see him boosting his resume up to take a head coaching job.
I could.
And I mean, he's coached guys like Devin Bush, who you are very familiar with now, being a Pittsburgh Steeler. So I mean, he does have coaching ability, obviously. But when you come into a situation where you have guys like Tough Borland and Pete Werner already established, and you really can't make much of a switch, it's like. But now, like you said, he finally gets his opportunity with guys he can build from the ground up. And we got guys coming in, linebacker recruit-wise especially, like Reed Carrico or whatever, however you say his last name, who I keep seeing more and more like great things about. Like how hard this guy hits, how great of a tackler he is, how fast he is, his size. Like I'm seeing everything positive about this kid. I hope I get to see him on the field because from the sounds of it, he could end up being like another James Laurinaitis type linebacker or even better. So I'm definitely intrigued for that. So to me, it's a no-brainer. But these coaches, I mean, sometimes they're like, well, I mean, maybe the grass is greener over there, but Washington has had ties to Ohio State. Like, his dad played here. You know, he was only with the team up north because a job wasn't available here. And then once a job became available here, he was gone like that. Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was a no-brainer to me. It really was. And I think in the end, to him, it became a pretty big no-brainer too.
I agree.
All right, folks, we're going to go to break here real quick. When we come back, we'll do some Keen's Ransom, and then we will talk some Ohio State basketball. Sound good?
Woohoo!
All right. Excited. We will be back on the Buckeye Bro Show.
This is the Buckeye Bro Show on Score On Air Network.
Are we both wearing the basketball?
In sports, you want to have a player that can get the job done right every time. A real all-star, somebody that's dependable and you can turn to when the game is tough. That player in the audio-video industry is the theater people. From setting up your home's Wi-Fi network and offices, conference rooms, to setting up home theater inside or outside, to setting up the systems to make your home run smarter and safer as well. The theater people can do it all with the quality of professionalism you can expect every single time. That isn't just a great all-around player, that is an all-star. That is why we are the leaders in audiovisual installation in Central Ohio. So call us at 614-604-6327 or check out our website at ttpcolumbus.com to figure out which products will fit you. And don't forget, amplify your personality with the theater.
Have you always dreamed about a career in sports broadcasting but aren't sure where to begin? Well, if so, then look no further than the Sports Emphasis program at the Ohio Media School. Whether in front of the camera, on the microphone, or behind the scenes, you'll learn from a pro to be a pro in the Sports Emphasis program at the Ohio Media School. You'll get hands-on training and live in-the-field experience at some of Ohio's biggest sporting events. You'll be the star of your very own webcast, and you'll get the opportunity to interview some of Ohio's biggest athletes. Call us today at 614-655-5250 or visit our website at beonair.com.
Do you have design ideas for t-shirts but you're not sure where to go? Go to Mojo Sports Gear. That's right, Mojo Sports Gear. At Mojo Sports Gear, you can get custom-made shirts. Whatever design you need, Mojo Sports Gear can provide it. Don't forget to grab a custom-made cap on your way out and rock the best headgear in the game. Give them a call at 614-864-6656. That's 614-864-6656.
And we're back on the Buckeye Bro Show.
So, I have to say something before we talk about anything else. I just realized, are we both wearing Ohio State men's basketball jerseys?
Yep.
And we're both wearing hoodies underneath those jerseys?
Yes, sir.
Did we just become Buckeye Bros?
I think we did.
Yes!
We have so much room for activities.
Oh my gosh, so
Yes.
much. That's room. If only we could do them in a COVID year.
The Catalina wine mixer, I think, is in our future.
I'll take it. I will take
I
that.
love it.
Love it.
All right, are you ready for Sakeen's Ransom?
Oh, of course, always.
Here we go.
And now it's time for the King's Ransom with your royal host, Sir King Buckeye.
All right. Here we are on Keen's Ransom, and I have one game on the docket here. Tomorrow, the Illinois Fighting Illini will play at Nebraska, and that is a Illinois 14.5 favorite right now, and the over-under is 147.5. Nebraska's pretty trash at basketball. I don't know if you've known this, but they're not good.
I didn't, but thank you for telling me.
Yeah, you are very welcome. They are pretty bad. They are at the bottom. They have not won a conference game. They are 4-11 overall. Illinois is the number 6 team in the country, however, and they are a really good basketball team, as we all know. They were actually supposed to be playing the Wolverines at some point, but I think that game got postponed, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, Illinois definitely can win this game by that much. I don't know if they played before already.
I don't
think
so.
so. Who knows at this point? Here, I'm looking at the schedule real quick.
Nobody knows.
If it'll load. There we go. They have not played Nebraska yet. That game was canceled or postponed, and it got moved to now. So, yeah, that Wolverine game they were supposed to play was supposed to be today, and then that didn't happen. So they put this Nebraska game they had to make up tomorrow. So they haven't played Nebraska yet, but Nebraska is absolute dog crap at basketball. Illinois is definitely going to win by more than 14.5 points. So take Illinois and the points there. The over/under being 147.5 or and a half, though, that's high. I think that's high.
That's a little high
because I don't think Nebraska is going to score anything past like in the 60s, unless like Illinois goes completely off for like 80 or 90 points, which I don't foresee happening. I think that's too high, so I'm going to say take the under on that. I think that's your safest bet there. So, yeah. And that's been Keen's Ransom. I do decree.
There you go.
Finally, I did it. Finally, I
Yes!
remembered. Thank you, sir.
That's my boy.
You were like telepathically telling me to do it, and I was just like, I can't let him down. Not again. Not one more time.
Not one more time.
Right. All right, let's talk some Buckeye basketball, shall we?
Oh, absolutely. Let's do it.
Since we basically summed up that game that was going on during our last show, which was the Iowa game, we only have one game to talk about. But it was a great game nonetheless. Ohio State took on Maryland at Maryland on Monday night, and this team looked really, really good. They got a lot of big leads there. They ended up winning 73-65. They outscored Maryland in both quarters, or both halves, I should say. Sorry. And
yeah, get it right, sports guy.
Can I just, like, real quick, get super biased home fanboy about my boy Kyle Young?
Does it have to be quick? I mean,
right,
we got time.
Right. As some people may know, I'm from Massillon, Ohio. My alma mater is Massillon-Jackson High School, the home of the Polar Bears, and Kyle Young happens to be from my high school. And there's a tweet Jared Sullinger put out about Kyle Young, and I'll pull it up here while I'm talking. I seen this kid throughout his entire high school career, and when we hired Chris Holtman, I'm like, he's ours. He had committed to Butler because of Chris Holtman, and I'm just sitting there like, please hire Chris Holtman so we can get Kyle Young. This is going to be so great. And then it happened, and then I'm like, it's only a matter of time before we get Kyle Young now. And lo and behold, we did. So I was super stoked about that. I've always known what this kid is capable of, and I was like waiting to see it. I'm waiting to see him take over and score at will. And, we've talked about it on this show before, just waiting for Kyle to step up, right? We've talked about it ad nauseum, seemingly at this point. And then he just finally, watching him was a thing of beauty. And Jared Sullinger, on the 8th, which I believe that was Monday, he said, Kyle Young can shoot. That's what people don't know. Open gym, he be knocking it down. Okay? So when a former Buckeye great is shouting you out like that, you know it's on. And I'm just sitting here reading that tweet going like, I knew. Right. This has always been in his arsenal. It's just been a matter of when he's going to take over. And I think, what better time than your senior year than to just, once things are starting to click for this team, him just turn up the heat a little bit. He had a career high 18 points, folks. He went 7 for 12, 1 for 2 on 3-pointers, perfect from the free throw line, and I believe he had 4 rebounds, which is low for him, but he made up for it in scoring. And in case anybody cares, Aaron Wiggins for Maryland had the most points for them, 17 points, 6 for 15 shooting, 4 for 5 on free throws, and 6 assists. So, it was just a coming out party for Kyle Young. And I'm like, if I can see that for the rest of the time this season, this team's going to be unstoppable. Like, what were your thoughts on this game, and who besides Kyle Young did you think did a really great job?
Arns. Quite simply Arns. And that's nothing that should surprise anybody. Justin has been very, very critical for this team in certain spots. It's weird. He'll have games where he's not really on the stat sheet. He's not really at least contributing from a stat standpoint. He's done things that are, not calculable on a stat sheet, but he's still been involved in the game. But anytime I see him show up on his stat sheet and show up the way he did with 11 points, that's when I know Ohio State's in good shape. And they needed this, to be perfectly honest. The thing that's really amazing to me is they stepped up when others kind of faltered a little bit this time. This game made me a little nervous at times, especially with E.J. Liddell not stepping up. I mean, 2 for 8, 7 points.
It was a down game for him. He didn't score until late.
3, but still, even that though, to be perfectly honest, 3 of 4 on free throws. So he still mattered when he still mattered when we needed it to.
Right.
So it was really great. But Kyle Young, like you said though, man, how can you not be happy for this kid? This kid had a rough last year. We've talked ad nauseum that kind of want to see that Kyle Young that we saw before he had all those issues. It was looking like he was going to be a big addition to this team, and then he kind of just trailed off just a little bit. I think he was still a factor, like I said about Arns. He was a factor not on the score sheet, but he was still a factor just because of his presence. Now we're seeing him be both. Now we're seeing him be a factor on the score sheet and a factor because of his presence. And that's when this team is dangerous and when Kyle Young is dangerous. Dwayne Washington Jr., though, 18 points, that's incredible.
Any game where he goes off is a good game.
And for a while there, it seemed like we weren't getting that. So it's nice to see that we are starting to get it. Right. And again, like I said, it's nice to see that when Liddell and Justice Suing was not any sort of a factor really in this.
Quiet game for him.
He only had 3 shots. 3 shots, and he missed all of them.
Big goose egg.
Yeah,
it was a little rough. It seems like when we can get 4 players in double digits, we have a really good chance to win. That's what it's looking like. And this was basically the case. And like I said, E.J. Liddell, I mean, he was due for a bad game, and I'd rather it be against an opponent that's not named the team up north. That's coming around the corner very quickly, by the way. In about 10 days, I believe. So that's pretty close. That's going to be a very, very crucial matchup. And obviously I've been skeptical of this team, especially after that Purdue game. We were like, who is this team even? Like, where are they even going to go from here, right? And it's pretty bad when I've had Wolverine fans tell me, your team is legit, just watch. I'm like, why are we like, I've been complimenting their basketball team and coach. They've been complimenting ours. I'm like, I'm not okay with this.
I feel like that's that Office gif. What is going on?
Right. Like, this is another reason why I need football season back, because I need that hatred. I feed off this hatred. I need it. I need this. Okay? I need it all day long. So you know at that point, like, there's something about this team, right? And they have the most quad 1 wins in the country at 8. I believe they still have the most ranked wins in the country at like 5 or 6 or something like that. And then, this was a game that at times It looked a little sketchy, but I never really had a sense that Ohio State wasn't in control, even when they were up by like only 9 a couple times and stuff like that. It felt
That's true.
comfortable.
Yeah, I will agree with that. It did make me nervous at times, but I will agree that at no point did I feel like this game was going to get out of hand. I felt like they were in pretty good control throughout the entire point. The only thing that made me nervous was the fact that E.J. Liddell and Justice Suing were not getting on the board as much as we're accustomed to. But all the credit in the world, and to be honest, it's a great thing to see this game play out this way because it shows that this team can handle it if their two big guys are not producing.
I agree. And this is what you want to see out of a basketball team. When your main guys are down, you have other guys step up. And that seems to be the pattern now. And that's huge, especially when it comes turning time. Like, E.J. Liddell's probably not going to have a good game every game. So if other guys can step in and step up, huge. Absolutely huge. And the fact that now this team is being talked about heavily for a 1 seed alongside the team up north, that's not a conversation I even pictured us having at any point. Like, I'm just thinking, let's just make the tournament, maybe make like a 7 seed if we're lucky, try to get to Sweet 16, and if we don't go any further, that's fine. Now I'm looking at this team, and I'm still skeptical, okay? I've told Wolverine fans this too. I've had to be critical. I'm still skeptical. Let me see what we do against your team on that Sunday, and that will tell me the rest I need to know. If we go in and win that game at home against the team up north, I'm sold. I'm absolutely sold that this team can make serious moves to win something special this year. They might not win a Big Ten title because the Wolverines have like a 3-game lead, and them not playing hasn't helped that. But they could win the Big Ten tournament, which would be sweet. And if they can make it into the Elite Eight, I'm going to be really sold on this team maybe possibly doing it. And this goes for all you Big Ten teams out there. If you want to win a natty, this is the year to do it, okay? You have the top 13 winningest programs of all time in college basketball, all not ranked. And 5 of them being Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, and Michigan State. All not ranked. That is nuts. And I don't even think Michigan State is one of the top 13 teams of all time win-wise. I just threw them in there.
So.
I just threw them in there just because they've been a college basketball power. But the other 4 are, and they're not ranked. They stink. So if you're going to win a national championship, if you're in the Big Ten, this is the year. If you don't do it now, you might not ever again, because the stars are aligning here, folks. They are absolutely aligning here, and it's like that just turns up the pressure even more on Ohio State. You're looking at that, you're like, okay, we're not gonna have to worry about Duke. We're not gonna have to worry about North Carolina. We're not gonna have to worry about these guys. They're not here. I mean, Villanova's around. That's sweet. Gonzaga, cool. Baylor, I mean, they're good. But normally those are the perennial powers that you're just sweating every single game, and they're not there. Yeah, the top 13 winningest programs, all unranked in Week 12, it said, and this was posted 3 days ago. Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, Temple, Syracuse, UCLA, Notre Dame, St. John's, Indiana, Arizona, Utah, and Cincinnati. All not ranked. A lot of those teams are always tourney teams too. They're not ranked. If you're gonna win now. So I'm going to still hold a little skepticism until that team up north game coming up on the 21st, I believe. Yes, Sunday the 21st. In Columbus. It's at home. And they're only going to have a couple games coming back from COVID stuff to play before they play us, and we've been hot. So get it going. You got to win that game. It's a must now. Because if you win that game, that's going to just boost you even higher. And then all of a sudden now we're looking at some serious contender-esque stuff for this team. And I think at that point, if they win that game, and we'll see if you agree, it's Elite 8 or bust.
Yeah, to be honest, before this point, I was saying that I thought that after they started going on this hot streak, my expectations definitely went up.
So would you say
I was at 16. If they do win the games that they should, and maybe win the games that they shouldn't, depending on how the end of the season goes, I definitely would say that Elite 8 or bust is a reasonable expectation. Which is hilarious because, we're a High State fan, so
right.
Sometimes our expectations are a little bit
lofty. Yeah. Mainly for football, but would you say if they beat the team up north that it's maybe even Final Four or bust? Or is that too much of a stretch?
I would say that it's a bit of a stretch. I would be okay with Elite 8 or bust.
I would too. I absolutely would too.
Because here's the thing, you and I both don't expect much out of this team.
We did.
Because of we know we had this discussion, I think, a couple of shows ago. Ohio State just isn't that kind of basketball team. They're just not. And Ohio State fans see what the football team does, and they think that the basketball team should have the same exact mindset. And that's great. But unfortunately, that's not how it worked in basketball for Ohio State for many, many years.
Dial it down. For sure.
There are very few schools that are good at both. Very few. Michigan's probably one of the exceptions. And even then, they're really not that good at football right now. They're great at basketball. They suck at football right now. Michigan State, they're kind of in between.
They were at one point very good at both. Very good at both. And so are we. And so
Wisconsin, I would say Wisconsin's kind of up there. They're very good at both.
Alabama apparently right now is.
Yeah. But you look at the Blue Bloods like Kansas. Name me the last time their football team had a really good season.
2007.
Oh, wait.
That was easy.
You didn't have to actually give me an actual answer.
That was easy.
I appreciate the enthusiasm, but geez.
Yeah. Trust me.
Damn.
I wanted to play them in the national championship game. They were the only other team with a Power 5 team with one loss besides us. Everybody else had 2 or more losses. I was pulling for them. And then, of course, LSU happened, and we know the rest of the story.
Yeah, but you get my point. You look at the Blue Bloods of the basketball world. You can't have it both ways. It just does not usually work like that in sports. I'd much rather take the football.
Me too.
Pretty perfectly honest.
Me too.
I love football, so I'm a little bit biased. So I would much rather take the football.
I love your bias. I love it.
Thank you. It's a Buckeye Bro.
That's all, folks. That's all, folks.
And that's all, folks.
God, that was scary. Oh, wow. Okay. Alrighty. But yeah.
Well, you know what? You're despicable.
You're despicable.
You're despicable.
Yeah, I totally agree. We're obviously not a basketball school. We've had good basketball teams, but we're not a good basketball. I mean, we're not a basketball school. So
we're a good basketball school, but people want to see us be a Ohio State football basketball school. Yeah. That's the difference.
Right.
We are a good basketball school. I will say that every year. We are a good basketball school. We make the tournament 9 times out of 10. I get it. There were a couple years where we didn't.
Right.
But we usually make the tournament. We usually go a few rounds into the tournament. It's just a couple of games where we maybe don't make the Sweet 16. Right. This team, honestly, should be a Sweet 16 almost every single year.
Right. Which I think you can do. Which I think Coach Holman can do.
I agree. He just had to get a little bit under his feet and kind of get a hang of this, the hang of this team. And I think he's finally starting to do that. And now you're seeing what this team can be made of. But I think this team realistically is always going to be a Sweet 16 potential team. Whether or not they finish the job is
sure.
Yeah. But this idea that we should be in the Final Four, in the championship every flipping year, it's just not realistic.
Right.
So I'm much happier with an Elite Eight or bust. Now, would I love to see them make the Final Four? Heck yeah. But we'll see. I think they have the potential, but I want to see that Michigan game first.
I believe Coach Holtman can, in the long run, have a better career with Ohio State than Thad Matta did. I fully believe that. His health is a big reason why, because Thad Matta's health declining was not helping his matters any, and then he lost the locker room, and that just wasn't great either. I think Coach Holtman, being a healthier guy, and the fact that he won't let it get to that point ever, I think is going to be good. But I've been forgetting to say this on the show. I need to say this. The biggest reason, and this is my hot take, the biggest reason why this Ohio State team is so good is because Caleb Wesson is gone. Period. Granted, he was a great player. He was a guy that was really dominant for us for a lot of years, but they relied on him way too much. And then when he wasn't on, nobody was on, and we lost. And we lost a lot of games because of that. And he just never seemed to improve. He always seemed to get in foul trouble all the time, and it just ruined the whole flow of a game for us every time. Unfortunately, I was happy that he left before the season. I said, good. Now this team can really have a potential to grow. And for a bit there, obviously, we were like, yeah, well, I mean, we had him at middle of the pack Big Ten, and it was looking like it was going to be that way regardless. But now all of a sudden, this team has a huge pulse. And I think it has a large part to do with the fact that Caleb Wesson is not on this team. Because if he was on this team, things would still be wrapped around him, and then all of a sudden, we probably wouldn't be in the position we are now. Now more guys get to get involved. There's actual leaders on this team being able to lead this team, and it just seems like the team chemistry is better with him gone. And people can say I'm an idiot for saying that. That's fine. Go ahead.
You're an idiot.
I don't care.
I'm just kidding.
But
I'm just kidding, buddy.
This team is so much better without Caleb Wesson on it. Point blank. I'm sure I'll have people disagree with me on that. That's fine. But
yes, shame.
I just call it like I see it. Okay. Yeah.
Shame.
All right, we're gonna go to break, and when we come back, we will have Hot Wheels hot takes for you, and then we will talk about a little bit of Super Bowl stuff. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right, we will be back on the Buckeye Bro Show.
This is the Buckeye Bro Show on Score On Air Network.
In sports, you want to have a player that can get the job done right every time. A real all-star, somebody that's dependable and you can turn to when the game is tough. That player in the audio-video industry is the theater people. From setting up your home's Wi-Fi network and offices, conference rooms, to setting up home theater inside or outside, to setting up the systems to make your home run smarter and safer as well. The theater people can do it all with the quality of professionalism you can expect every single time. That isn't just a great all-around player. That is an all-star. That is why we are the leaders in audio-visual installation in Central Ohio. So call us at 614-604-6327 or check out our website at ttpcolumbus.com to figure out which products will fit you. And don't forget, amplify your personality with the theater.
Have you always dreamed about a career in sports broadcasting but aren't sure where to begin? Well, if so, then look no further than the Sports Emphasis program at the Ohio Media School. Whether in front of the camera, on the microphone, or behind the scenes, you'll learn from a pro to be a pro in the Sports Emphasis program at the Ohio Media School. You'll get hands-on training and live in-the-field experience at some of Ohio's biggest sporting events. You'll be the star of your very own webcast, and you'll get the opportunity to interview some of Ohio's biggest athletes. Call us today at 614-655-5250 or visit our website at beonair.com.
Do you have design ideas for t-shirts but you're not sure where to go? Go to Mojo Sports Gear. That's right, Mojo Sports Gear. At Mojo Sports Gear, you can get custom-made shirts. Whatever design you need, Mojo Sports Gear can provide it. Don't forget to grab a custom-made cap on your way out and rock the best headgear in the game. Give them a call at 614-864-6656. That's 614-864-6656.
All right, Travis. You ready?
All right. I think so.
All right, Hot Wheels Hot Takes. Here we go. All right, Travis, hit us up with it.
All right, so I've been trying to think of one all week long, and with all the sports, all our football's going away. So I figure we need one more week of a football Hot Wheels hot take. And I've seen Tom Brady kind of yucking it up because of his Super Bowl and Gronk and his shirtless, party boy body. And I can see the discomfort in your face, so I think I'm gonna make you happy. My Hot Wheels hot take is this: the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will not sniff another Super Bowl as long as Tom Brady is on that team.
Love it! Yes!
Not a single one. Not even that they won't win one. They won't even be there.
God, I want to believe that so bad.
Me too.
I think at this point it's a race to 10 between Saban and Brady. I think they've called each other. I think they've been like, "Hey, you're not going to get to 10 rings before I do." And Nick Saban's just like, "Well, stop asking." Click,
And as soon as that happened, Tom got on the phone with Goodell and said, "Listen, we need to make this happen. I want to beat him. Can we kind of rig some things, cause another deflate gate? Maybe we'll get to 10."
Ugh. I don't even want to talk about this game, but that's a segue.
It is a segue.
Let's talk about it, Travis. Tampa Bay Buccaneers unforeseenly mud stomped the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9. Wow. It still hurts to think about, especially knowing the fact that my Green Bay Packers were this close to beating the Buccaneers, and that could have been us celebrating a Super Bowl win. Now, granted, KC would have done a lot better against our defense. There's no doubt. It would have been a much better game because of that. But what are your thoughts on this monstrosity, man?
First of all, you've kind of put the nail in the coffin. It was an absolute monstrosity, and I am completely just distraught, discomforted. I'm appalled. I'm disgusted. He's got 7. It's not fair. I'm sick of this.
I'm sick of it too, dude. I'm over it.
He needs to just go away.
He does.
He needs to go away. In all seriousness, though, congratulations to Tom Brady. It almost pains me to say that. Right. Yeah, exactly. It hurts me immensely to say that. No, this was it still actually was a pretty interesting game. As much as it was a bad score, it was interesting. Once I heard the news that Kansas City was going to be without a lot of their tackles, I knew this game was over. And most people should have.
Right.
Once Kansas City put out the news, put out their injury report. They were going to be without a couple of their tackles. This game was over. That Tampa defense dominated.
Right.
Absolutely dominated from start to finish.
Todd Bowles, MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or
Absolutely.
Devin White, MVP.
And that's the thing, and that there was a big talk about that. Should he have won it and stuff like that? And that no defensive player is probably ever going to win that award unless they absolutely kill it, and that the offense just does absolutely terrible.
Right.
Because it's just
if
it
you
doesn't
have like
happen.
4 picks as a defensive back, you might win it. I can't even tell you the last Super Bowl MVP that was a defensive player. I couldn't even tell you.
I mean, if you give your thoughts on the game, I'll look it up.
All right, you do that. This game was painful to watch in every single possible imaginable way. I'm a known disliker of Tom Brady for very, very obvious reasons. Especially because of the fact that Wolverine fans like to all of a sudden now really claim him and idolize him. Not mentioning the fact that the vast majority of them booed this man off the field. They did not want him as their quarterback. They wanted Henson over him, and he was just useless to them. And he literally did not come back to campus for many years until Harbaugh basically got him back on campus at a game. He had not been in, the Wolverine Stadium for like well over 15 years or something like that. It was ridiculous, right? They completely disgraced this man, and now all of a sudden, once he wins the Super Bowl ring, he's their best friend. We're not playing those games, okay? We all know that you didn't want him. If you're not going to support him from the get-go, don't support him now, type of thing. Us Buckeye fans, we support all of our former players, even if they're on teams that we don't like in the NFL. We will support them and wish for their individual success, because that's how we roll. Take notes. Anyway.
Speak for yourself. I'm still kind of debating whether I want to root for Dobbins or not. It hurts.
Deep down you want to. Just not against you guys.
Lot.
You can root against him when he plays the Steelers.
Okay.
But any other time, that's how I see it.
I
Ted
have an
Ginn.
answer, by the way.
What is it?
It was 2016, and I can't believe that I didn't even think about it. It was the Broncos. Von Miller.
Oh, well, that's
the
a good
year
one.
that Manning did absolutely nothing.
I forgot about that.
Except just enough to not lose
What was
the
the
game.
time before that? Was there another one before that? Was like Lawrence Taylor the last one after that?
No, 2014, Malcolm Smith. Seattle Seahawks.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Maybe it's happened a little more often than I thought it did. Interesting.
The time before that was...
Wait, that wasn't Malcolm Butler?
This is Malcolm Smith.
Huh.
Malcolm Smith.
Weird. Okay, cool.
Time before that, Dexter Jackson for Tampa Bay.
Oh, wow.
2000,
all the way back to
2003.
Okay.
2001, Ray Lewis, Baltimore Ravens. No
That
real
makes
surprise
sense.
there.
That makes sense. Yep.
Larry Brown after that. I feel like there's some that they're forgetting here.
Right.
It just doesn't seem right.
But either way, this game really hurt to watch in every imaginable way, especially as a Packers fan, knowing that could have been the Packers doing that. I think we would have had a really good shot against the Chiefs, especially the way they played. I told some buddies of mine in a chat we have, my fantasy football dudes, at halftime, I said, these next 2 quarters are really going to define Mahomes' career. I'm like, he can either stay as just in the conversation of potentially one of the greats to ever play the game, or he can immediately catapult himself near the top of the potential greatest ever to play conversation, depending on what he did. I'm going to give him a slight pass. This man literally ran for nearly like 500 yards post-snap, pre-sack. He was running for his absolute life all night. And it's like you said, The missing offensive linemen did not help him at all. It was really, really bad. I think overall they were missing like 4 offensive linemen, and 2 of them were the starting tackles. So yeah, when you got guys like the Ndamukong Suh on your defensive line, you got guys like Jason Pierre-Paul in your front 7. You know, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare scenario, and I feel like had he had the offensive line, maybe the Chiefs don't win still, but it's a lot closer. It's a lot closer.
I agree.
But and what made it worse for me was third quarter, right? They're up 28-9 at that point. I did some Super Bowl squares at my place of work. Last year, I won 2 out of the 4, so I won $240 by buying in for $20. I made bank last year. I was this close to making $120 off the third quarter. All Kansas City needed to do was score a field goal, and Tampa Bay not score any points, and I would have won $120. But instead, Tampa Bay gets the 3 points, Kansas City doesn't score, and it's 31-9, and whoever had that square won 2 quarters in a row and got $240.
You poor boy.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
I was so close, Travis. And
so close.
At that point, I knew the game was over in the third quarter. I'm like, they're not coming back from this. They can't get anything going. This man's literally like vertical to the ground, this far off the ground, throwing passes that are near touchdowns, and nobody's catching anything. I'm like, it's over. It's a foregone conclusion. Ring number 7 on the goat. Not my goat. Never my goat.
Hashtag not my goat.
Not my goat. Ever. Okay? You give Aaron Rodgers all those weapons and that great of a defense every year of his career, just the defense alone. Forget the offensive weapons that Tom Brady and the Buccaneers bought, okay? Just give Aaron Rodgers that type of a defense his entire career. And not only does Aaron Rodgers have like 7 rings, maybe 2 at that point, but maybe even more. Maybe even more. Because if you look at the defenses he has had as a Packer his entire career, outside of like 1 year, which was a Super Bowl year. Sorry to bring that up, Travis. His defenses have absolutely sucked. Like, giving up 400 or 500 yards a game, 30-plus points a game. Like, his defenses have just sucked, okay? You give him a defense like that, Aaron Rodgers has at least one hand filled. At least. And it just infuriates me. Because everything always seems to fall into place for Tom Brady. And I'm sure it infuriates you too, because you're just like, everything should be falling in place for the Steelers like that. Everything should be falling in place for Aaron Rodgers like that. And it just doesn't. It just doesn't. And it's infuriating. I feel I'd be less mad if Tom Brady wasn't a Wolverine. Obviously, that's the part that really makes me mad the most. But I'd still be in this stage of everything just falls into place for this guy. And it's disgusting. And the fact that he's just standing up there with the confetti falling and being like, yeah, I'm coming back. Screw you. Screw you, bud. You know, just leave. Just retire. Nobody wants you around except your teammates.
Go away.
Just go away. We're done with this crap. We're done.
Exactly.
I'm spent. It's like... If Bama doesn't win, Tom Brady wins. If Tom Brady doesn't win, Bama wins. And sometimes they just screw around and win the same year. I'm over it. I'm over it. Would I be over it if it was the Packers and Buckeyes every year? Heck no. I'd be like, woo, go Bucks, go Packers, we dominate you all, woohoo. But it's not the case. So I'm going to be a hater, and I'm going to say, screw this. I'm over it.
Ooh. Speaking of
Sound
that, you might have given me a hot take for next week.
Ooh.
Oosa.
No, we'll have to keep that in the bank.
Yes.
But I'm over it. Like, how over it are you right now? Because I'm over it.
I'm over it, man. I'm really over it. Like you said, you brought up the fact that every time he wins, Bama wins. That's why I'm over it. Every time, and now it seems like maybe it was Brady. Every time Brady wins, Bama wins.
Notice that too. That's a great point to bring up. It always used to be the graphic where it was like, oh, the year Bama wins or the Patriots win, right? It was always Bama and the Patriots. And it was like, oh, they didn't win this year, but the Patriots did. Oh, they didn't win this year, but Bama did. Oh, they both didn't win this year, but they both won this year. And now the graphics obviously changed. It's Tom Brady.
Might be an interesting time.
I'm so over it. I'm over it. I couldn't be more over it if I tried. I really could.
Yeah.
It hurts.
I'm excited for next year. I really am. I want to see what this Chiefs team is made of. Like you said, Pat Mahomes, I don't think we can kill him for this game. I really don't think he can.
So. He did everything he could.
Dude was running for his life for obvious reasons. I am a little bit disappointed in their defense, and I'm a little bit disappointed in his run game, or at least the lack thereof.
Yeah.
Why were we not using Clyde Edwards-Helaire a little bit more? Why were they not using Le'Veon Bell, who I'm fairly certain was dressed for that game? That's my one complaint out of this entire game is that you had Le'Veon Bell, you had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and you didn't use either one of them. Really a lot. I mean, obviously they used CEH a little bit, but like they only had, I think he only had like 9 carries.
It was a little suspect for sure.
So, I get it to a degree. You don't have tackles, so it is a little hard to run the ball. But, dude, you should have at least tried a little bit more than 9 carries.
Yeah, CHE was getting some nice little chunk yards there for a bit.
Yeah.
I'm biased, though. I think that they should have picked J.K. Dobbins. I think, but,
We all should have picked J.K. Dobbins.
Right. The fact that he was like, what, the 5th running back taken in that draft was an absolute joke. Absolute joke.
And he was arguably the best rookie
pretty much.
running back out of all of them.
Pretty much. He had 2 more rushing yards than CEH, but he did it on like 20 some less carries or something like that. Like he had 5 more rushing touchdowns. The only thing CEH had more receiving yards, but I mean that's to be expected with the different offenses. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is not freaking Peyton Manning out here. And Patrick Mahomes kind of is, so it's a little different. You give Dobbins a quarterback like that, and I'm pretty sure he'd be leading in receiving yards too, but who knows?
Right.
But, I mean, it's... Every part of that game was just... Like, it just... You just could feel it in the air that somehow, some way... Right.
Coming in the air.
Yeah, basically. But you could just feel that it was going to be Tom Brady's night. And I don't know if I've said this on this show in the past, but I've said it before to somebody at least, that it just, if it's an irrelevant quarterback that's like not even really on a lot of people's radar, they seem to beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. But if it's some quarterback that's actually good, Tom Brady beats him. And this is just another case of that. And obviously, if Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs had won this game, having a win against the supposed GOAT on your resume in a Super Bowl, that would just impact it in the best possible way. But now that you have that L, and a big L nonetheless, the last time he lost by double-digit points to anybody was like in 2016 against Iowa State when he was at Texas Tech. And Texas Tech lost 66-10. He hadn't been beaten that bad in that long. Patrick Mahomes.
Jeez.
So it's like, obviously, if you win that game against that guy and that team, that does eons of things for your career. Now he has to, because he might not get a chance at Tom Brady again. I mean, eventually, Father Time, please God, soon, will catch
Not
up.
if my hot take was correct.
Right, which I'm banking on. Trust me, I'm hoping. But Father Time doesn't seem to be in any rush to catch up with Tom Brady at any point in time soon. So it's like this guy's just going to be around. And I've seen things where he's like, yeah, I'm very much considered playing into my 50s. Like, go away. That's 7 years. I can't deal with this for 7 more years. That'll be like Saban. He'll come out and say, oh, yeah, I've thought about coaching until I'm 100. Go! Save some for the rest of us. We're hungry. We're starving out here. Like, don't you miss college football when it was like Texas won and then somebody else won, and it was like you don't know what's gonna happen. Now it's just like, okay, who's Bama gonna play in the Natty?
Well, that's the funny thing, because that's the reason that we had the playoffs, because they wanted to see more of that. Even though we were kind of getting that, even though it did seem
we got
like
it
it was
year
the
one.
same.
We got it year one.
The same teams over and over and over again in the BCS, and so they created the playoff because we wanted new. We want more people with opportunities. We got it in year one, and then we never saw it again.
Right.
This year actually might be the only year you could argue is the next time that we've gotten it, because we had Ohio State and we had Notre Dame. But even then, people are going to look and say, well, no, Ohio State was in this, so that doesn't count. I don't know.
I don't even like to think about the one game. We'll talk about the Clemson game all day, but was there another game that happened? I don't recall.
I seem to have just erased it from my memory.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about. I really don't. We haven't talked about anything like that on this show before. Nope.
No, not at all.
I didn't have a giant emoji behind me that never happened. Never happened. Okay. But I mean, all in all, the Super Bowl had really, really crappy ratings too. It was very not watched, which was not really surprising me.
About this that you liked, like anything at all?
Anything at all?
What was your favorite commercial? Did you like any of the
commercials? My favorite
commercials?
commercial was the Ashton Kutcher Mila Kunis one, where they had Shaggy. That was funny. That was really, really funny.
The Paramount Plus one, I heard Ty on the CBJ Crosscheck talking about the Paramount Plus ones.
Yes.
Those ones were pretty good.
That was dope. I like that.
Yeah, that's all I can really think about.
There was an Alexa one, apparently, that I didn't see that was apparently pretty good.
I'm glad I'm wearing headphones and you didn't just say that out loud.
Wow. Yeah. That could have been bad.
Yeah.
And then there was a Matthew McConaughey one for 3D Doritos. That was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny. I will admit.
Somebody on my favorite radio show said they hated that one because of the music that was playing. And I was like, dude, that's Queen. Queen is so good. Why would you hate on Queen? That's not cool. There's a really good song on that commercial, as a matter of fact.
Right.
But that was probably the best part of the commercials. I honestly contemplated not even watching this game, and I was just gonna root for the Chiefs from afar. But a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, yeah, we're having a little thing," so I was like, "Okay, I'll come over and watch it." And I regret every second of it because the last thing I wanted to see was Tom Brady smiling in any way, shape, or form, and that's exactly what I saw. And I'm just like, I feel like we're going to be stuck in this for the rest of our lives. Like, Tom Brady is going to be in, like, Super Bowl 80-something, and he's going to be, like, 70-something years old. And he's just going to be like, hey, I have all my toes covered in rings. Now I need to grow an extra arm or foot or hand or foot just to, put some more rings on. Like, we're going to get to that point. And I don't know if I can mentally handle that. I
can't do it. I can't do it.
If I see either Saban or him win a 10th ring, I might cancel sports in my life for the rest of my life. I might. Now, if I had to pick between the two who I'd rather see have 10 rings, unfortunately I'd pick Tom Brady because I don't want Saban winning anymore because that means Ohio State has a better chance to win it. So I'll take that all day, every day. But, there's nothing I can really do about it.
No, unfortunately not.
Just sit back and watch them both continue to dominate both of these levels of football and just make me cringe and cry. Like, I wanted Aaron Rodgers against Tom Brady in one Super Bowl, and it just never happened. We almost had it in 2014. If a stupid idiot on special teams can cover an onside kick, if he just does that, we're fine. We go play Brady in the Super Bowl, and we might win. We might win.
Yeah, those stupid idiots.
Because we would have ran the ball on the goal line instead of passing it, right? We would have done it. Well, maybe not, because they like to pop passes with Aaron Rodgers all the time. But Aaron Rodgers would have completed the pass because he's a freaking magician. But then when they were like 7-5 at one point in the season, I'm like, yeah, they're not gonna make the playoffs. Sucks to be you, Tom Brady. And then they made the playoffs, and yeah, here we are. So it was very depressing.
You want to make us feel better?
Yes.
We're running out of time, so
we are running out of time. We have like 5 minutes.
We should probably get to that segment that's gonna make everybody happy again.
Yeah, I agree. You want some Wolverine whiffs?
I do.
All right.
I need it in my life.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1.
All right, this week's Wolverine whiffs. I gotta call out a buddy of mine named Josh Bell. I told this man I was gonna screenshot this, and he did not know that I was gonna put it on the show. He might not even see this, but I'm going to tag him in it anyway, and we'll see what happens, because he deserves to be called out for this. He does this crap all of the time. He sees the new schedule posted for the Wolverines, and all the shuffled dates for them. And he says, no competition at all. We will easily go undefeated with this cupcake schedule. Go, insert color of the sky here. National championship bound. Yes, you have read that right. There are no typos.
Go, insert color of the sky.
I don't say it. I refuse.
I don't either, but I just love the way that you avoided saying
Go,
it.
insert color of toilet bowl cleaner here. National championship bound.
Well, they're used to that. I mean, it is their stadium after all.
Like, he does these posts all the time. He always does it in all caps. I think he has like an eyesight condition, so I don't hold that against him. But he literally believes what he says. Like, no joke. I've had debates with this kid all the time. He says stuff like this. I'm like, dude, that is not a cupcake schedule, for one.
No.
You look at that schedule, and I'll put it up again here, okay? You look at that schedule, I'm seeing maybe 7-5. Depending on what happens. You could lose to Indiana. You could lose to Penn State. You could maybe even lose to Sparty again next year. You're definitely losing to Ohio State. And Washington, that might be an L too, bud.
Yeah.
Northwestern could beat you too. Wisconsin.
I say Washington, Wisconsin at least.
Right. Ohio State, of course.
Northwestern's a maybe. I don't think Nebraska is really a loss. I want to say Rutgers just because of what happened this year, but
right.
I doubt it. Excuse me. Michigan State, that one's always tough. Indiana's definitely is a definite to me, honestly. Penn State's a maybe, and then like you said, yeah, us is definitely a loss. So I agree. Like, how?
But that's a cupcake schedule. Natty bound. Natty.
I wish we had. I'd take that schedule all day, every day.
Every day.
Northern Illinois, they've had moments. They have their moments. No, I don't think it's going to happen, but I
don't even know who your quarterback's going to be right now.
I don't think you.
Granted, we don't really either, but at least we know ours are going to be capable of going undefeated.
The only reason we don't is because there's too many to choose from.
Right. Y'all thought Joe Milton was the answer, and remember how that turned out.
Yeah.
Bust. So, good luck. I mean, you changed your whole coaching staff. We'll see if that works. Doubt it. And you avoid going to Columbus. Lucky you. Maybe you won't fake COVID this time, and we'll get to play you. We'll just go up to our second home in Ann Arbor. and paint it red again, I guess. Whatever. What an absolute embarrassment that is. Like, that is Wolverine Whiff 101 right there. Like, Natty Bound, Cupcake Schedule. There's like 5 L's on there, man. Josh Bell, just stop. Just stop the nonsense, bud. Like, if I keep seeing this stuff, I'm going to keep plastering it like freaking wallpaper out here, okay? It's grotesque. It's absolutely embarrassing. And he's not the only one. There's other ones that believe that nonsense too. So, there's no hope for them at all. Good luck. Have fun going 7-5. Harbaugh's probably last year, even though they just extended him. Ugh. Makes me sick. All right, we're going to wrap it up.
All right.
So, thank you guys for listening to the show. Obviously, we do appreciate it. You can catch us every Thursday at 8 p.m. on the Score on Air Network Facebook page. I encourage you all to watch even more shows on the Score on Air Network Facebook page. We got a couple with Travis Napper, as we always say. He has To the Turnbuckle, which is on Tuesdays at 5. Correct?
Correct.
Yes. Ding, ding. All right, and the Perfect 10 Sports Show, which is on Fridays at that time, I don't remember.
1 to 2:30.
1 to 2:30 p.m. Okay.
Yep.
And also check one of our newer shows out, CBJ Crosscheck, which is on Wednesdays at 4 on the Score on Air Network Facebook page or on the YouTube channel as well. You can watch all these on the YouTube channel. I tend to have our shows uploaded on Friday night if you want to watch it there. Or you can just go to the Score on Air Facebook page and just rewatch it there as well. We like to thank our sponsors. First off, the Theater People. Make sure you amplify your personality with the Theater People. They can help you with your entire home setup of entertainment or networking and security. So if you're in the Columbus area, please call 614-604-6327 or visit ttpcolumbus.com to build your dream home entertainment system. And we also like to thank Mojo Sports Gear. You go to them for all your custom apparel needs. And if you need that, please, please, please give Mojo Sports Gear a call. You can call them at 614-864-6656 or visit their website at mojosportsgear.com.
One other thing of housekeeping before we end the show. I do want to bring up, if you love hockey, I implore you incredibly, check out Score on Air this weekend, Saturday. I believe our coverage is going to be starting at 5:45. We are broadcasting the CBJ Cup. It's high school hockey. The matchups are being set up right now. We have a matchup that's already set in stone. Number 1 St. Charles is going to be taking on Olentangy Orange, my alma mater, which is awesome. You are going to see myself call a hockey game side by side with none other than the voice of the Blue Jackets, Bob McGilligan. So check it out. Check it out. You're going to enjoy it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. All the CBJ Cup semifinals are going to be broadcasted by us on Saturday. Finals will be on Sunday. So, again, check that out at 5:45. Check out our Twitter at Your Score on Air for all news on that, but you're going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it. So if you love hockey, check out the CBJ Cup from Score on Air.
Sounds like a plan. And, if you want to learn how to do shows like this and learn behind-the-scenes stuff and just anything media-related, basically, go ahead and check out Score on Air, beonair.com, either /Cleveland if you're closer to Cleveland or /Columbus. And you can maybe do a show just like we do here on the Buckeye Bro Show. So we thank you for watching, guys. Do catch us next week on Thursday at 8 p.m., and we'll talk some more Buckeye things. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, I'm still Keen Buckeye. He's still Hot Wheels, and this has been the Buckeye Bro Show. We'll see you next week, y'all. Go Bucks!
Go Bucks!
This is the Buckeye Bro Show on Score on Air Network.